Going back to the Stone Age is our best bet going forward as a species, especially to the Paleolithic times. You don't agree with me, then challenge me on these arguments that I'm about to share with you. I've categorized the arguments into three sections: personal, social, and ecological. So I'll start with personal. Anything to do with yourself, your health, your happiness, your biology, etc., as opposed to other people or society, etc. Argument number one: our selfish brains created civilization without considering other organisms or the ecological harmony. Also, human activity has always prioritized short term gains over long term planetary health. And so, a small example of that is from this paper: more than 75% decline in total flying insect biomass over 27 years. Okay, so, and that too in protected areas. That means these were the conserved areas where the government is putting a lot of effort to protect the biodiversity. In such an area, still the insect biomass is reducing by 75%, a dramatic decline in average airborne insect biomass of 76%. This considerably exceeds the estimated decline of 58% in global abundance of wild vertebrates. So the wild vertebrates are decreasing at 58% rate, and the insects are declining, the invertebrates are declining at 75% in 27 years in protected areas. And who's responsible for this? Agricultural intensification. So, agricultural intensification has been associated with an overall decline of biodiversity in plants, insects, birds, and other species in the current landscape. Be it any other organism other than humans, you are toasted. And something I also want to address is the Gaia hypothesis versus Medea hypothesis. Um, I'll discuss both of these in future. So both are partially wrong. So this is where primitivism comes in. Primitivism mitigates the limitation of both hypotheses. Argument number two: brain in any species originated for biological reasons. So technology was never part of the equation. But now, if you combine brain and technology, we can completely ruin the ecosystem, the natural ecosystem. So there's something called Jevons Paradox. When a new technology makes something more efficient, the total resource consumption goes up, not down. So electric vehicles are more energy efficient than combustion engines, but still the car sales or the total energy consumption, the CO2 emissions, etc., have all gone up, not down. So this is from AI. Since 2010, global car sales have shown a general upward trend with significant growth in electric vehicle sales. So that means the electric vehicle sales are also going up. It's not like nobody is buying electric vehicles or anything. Despite the growth in sales of electric vehicles, everything is going up. The CO2 emissions, the car sales, the total energy consumption. This is what my point is. The total energy consumption is also going up. So the problem here is not with the technology itself. The problem is when you combine that technology with our monkey brains, that's the problem. So this is a report, Global EV Outlook 2022, from this website, iea.org. Uh, that's International Energy Agency. So these are a group that condones electrification of all vehicles. Um, by 2030, 2040, they have some targets. In this report, actually, they are boasting about how much they have achieved throughout these years. Sales are going up. EV is nothing but electric vehicle. You can see the chart that it is going up. Over 16.5 million cars were sold in on the road in 2021. Whatever. I'm interested in something here. So why is EV a failure in terms of ecology or the ecosystem? So since the energy efficiency has increased, people started buying even bigger cars. Automakers and consumers continue to prefer SUVs over the smaller EVs. I remember in when I was a kid, I used to see very small EV cars, and we used to laugh at it. There are many more new offerings for large models and SUVs in Europe and US uh, than for small and medium EVs. So nobody prefers small EVs. Everyone wants a larger car. And another point I want to highlight is EV driving range has also increased. So now we have bigger batteries, bigger cars, bigger batteries, and which can take you longer distances. And people are also driving longer distances. People are driving more and more. And so another thing is there is a increased demand for lithium, nickel, and cobalt for batteries. And I like to point another fact that countries are going to war to get these resources. Argument number three, instinctive responses provide a deeper sense of satisfaction, happiness than a calculated intelligent response. All mammals use both instinctive and intelligent responses, but in modern human society, we have prioritized the requirement for more intelligence at the cost of instinctive fulfillment. So the Aborigines in Australia used this method, fire stick farming, to uh, burn forests, burn a patch of forest in a controlled manner, and they've been doing this from thousands of years instinctively to hunt, to even weed control, or to introduce new species to a place, and in a stable, sustainable manner, instinctively. And then came the colonizers. They banned forest burning, and now Australia is burning the mega fires or the wildfires. That's intelligence versus instinct. If if the aborigines were burning forests and they have been doing this from thousands of years instinctively, and their ecosystem is also stable, sustainable, then who is anyone from outside to come and change it? Argument number four, brain is a stupid and overrated organ. It just seeks out dopamine and will do anything for it, regardless of the long term consequences. An example of that is any social media addiction, any addiction for that matter. But I'm taking this example here, TikTok. It's just to show you that it's well documented. I'm not making stuff up. Exploring problematic TikTok use and mental health issues. Nothing new here. You all know this already. So here it is. Argument number five, brains make decisions based on the limited input it receives. So brains cannot be a genius or intelligent on a topic that it doesn't have an input on. For example, just like just like an untrained AI, if a particular AI is being trained only for artistic purposes, and if to that AI I ask any military related questions, it doesn't know the answer for that. That's exactly how our brain works too. So I categorize this particular input limitation into spatial input limitation and temporal input limitation. Spatial input limitation is because of our limited understanding about faraway places across the river or the other side of the mountain or some other barrier. I have not seen that place. How do my brain know what's going on there? So an example of this is how the world has adopted Western civilization. When did Western civilization start? It started in a very small place in the Middle East and spread across Europe. So whatever the ecosystem was there in that area, the people developed the culture, the social norms, ethics, whatever, based on the conditions and the challenges there. And now, when the Westerners colonized other parts of the world with different cultures and different challenges, different ecosystems and different weathers, everything different, and they just blindly spread their culture and their rules onto everyone around the world. So the Western brains came up with that culture which was suitable in that area, but they thought just because it is good for us, it will also be good for everyone around the world. The Western civilization will be good for everyone. So we, irrespective of the challenges in those areas, temporal input limitation, that is the past, present, future, how things change in time. So all the above mentioned spatial limitations hold, but now how those change with time from the past, how it was and how it will change into the future. Our brains are unable to see a pattern from past to the future. Even if we are on a decline, our brain is unable to sense it or connect the dots because all this is happening at a very slow rate. It can be called a slow motion catastrophe. That means every generation is declining, but its decline is very tiny bit that nobody is able to zoom out and see the whole picture from hundreds or thousands of years in the past or hundreds of thousands of years into the future. If you zoom out and see the whole picture, then you can know, yes, what's actually happening, and we are actually on a decline. The brain will be unable to do this instinctively. It's not built for that. And by the way, most of the things I discuss in the personal argument section are all mostly brain related, because every problem actually will come by to the brain, as you will know if you follow this channel. And as I said, it's nobody is looking at the whole picture. The cause and the effect is separated too far away, that the brain is not connecting both of these because they are spread across multiple generations, the actual cause and the effect. Argument number 6, technology changes much faster than the biological adaptation to it. Biological adaptation takes thousands of years, and it also involves our body, our mind, and the microbiome. All these things come together and they, in a harmonious way, adapt to a new technology. For example, how our hands adapted to stone usage, stone tool usage, and adapt our biological adaptation to grip the opposable thumb and everything. It took millions of years to be able to just hold a stone in hand. And so in a modern society, the technology changes so fast that the biology is always lagging behind, and your biology is always out of sync with the technology. And so there is always this perpetual mismatch with the technology. Technology and biology should go together, and so we are constantly out of sync with our technology, which is constantly changing. Our technology keeps changing, and this mismatch causes chronic stress to our biology. It causes insomnia, metabolic diseases, and etc. Because the biology is constantly trying to adjust to the newer and newer technology. The technology is not constant. Stone was constant. Stone technology remained stone technology for millions of years. So the biology adapted to it. Today in modern society, we are not giving time for the biology to adapt. By the time biology is trying to adapt to a new technology, that technology has already moved on. So a small example of that will be the diabetes. Throughout the 20th century, you can see the increase in diabetes, not only in the population but even in an individual, a diabetic individual, how they looked in 1920s, how they looked in 1950s, now today how they look. People getting bigger and bigger, fattier and fattier. So what's the new technology that came at this time? Industrial revolution, industrial farming, which introduced lots of sugars, lots of seed oils, other processed junk, everything. Now the biology is trying to adapt to this new technology, but it is unable to. So, and we are also continuously consuming this new technology, and so our biology is unable to face it. Before moving on to the social arguments, I would like to tell you that these are just some of the arguments from the myriad other arguments out there. I just picked a few of these from the books I read in few months, and and I also believe these are some of the unbeatable, non-debunkable arguments. And if you feel that's not true, then you can go ahead, share it in the comments. Social arguments, anything to do with other people, the society, social norms, ethics, or any social dealings. Argument number 7, modern society affects our health and happiness. It could be for various reasons, due to hierarchical nature, it's immoral, it's multicultural, lot of unfair competition, and it's also technology driven. And so even if a small privileged minority seems to be enjoying the modern life, but they are doing it at the cost of the vast majority. So an example, that the difference in richness within a group is only a modern society trait. The rich has access to knowledge and resources which the poor does not. And one such uh, resource is longevity. So the rich is not only getting richer, but they are also long lived. And so this paper perfectly highlights that association of wealth with longevity in US adults at midlife. So uh, The paper looks at siblings who were raised in the same household, but one sibling went on to become richer compared to the other sibling. This cohort study found an association between wealth at midlife and longevity, and this association is unlikely to be merely an artifact of environmental and heritable characteristics shared by families. So it's if they are both are siblings, it's not like there is any environmental or any heritable characteristic difference between the two. But then the rich sibling goes on to live longer than the poor sibling. Argument number 8: Earth has countless unique ecological niches, and these niches also have their own plants and animals, microbes that have been living there since millennia, including the humans that live there and have developed uh, a unique socio-cultural and socio-economic practices. But modern society has universalized everything, including a homogeneous culture. If you introduce a universal and homogeneous culture everywhere, to every parts of the world, it will disrupt all those unique ecological niches which were developed from millions of years. And the best example of that is the industrial agriculture. The industrial agriculture, what it did, it just introduced only the crops that were farmable, if you will, easy to cultivate, sow, and further processing everything. And so now industrial farming is everywhere to the point where the local biodiversity has, and we need land. We need more and more land for more and more growing population. So all the local biodiversity have been killed so that our desired plants get introduced to those places. And it has become so worse that just a few species make up most of Earth's food supply. The vast majority of people are eating just four crops, 4 calories. That is rice, wheat, maize, and potato. Argument number 9: we are headed into the unknown, but all our time and resources are spent on future technologies, and negligible amount of resources go into unearthing our past, as if we know where we are headed. And so instead of the whole species going in one direction, why not have some alternative ways too? And also something which our ancestors have already lived sustainably for millions of years, and which is tried and true. And so this is an AI response of the disparity between STEM sciences and the social sciences. So there's this broad category in science. One is STEM sciences, which is uh, science, technology, engineering, mathematics. And on the other side, you have social sciences, which includes archaeology, all those literature and humanities, politics, everything, all those things. So most of the money goes into STEM sciences. Archaeology typically receives significantly less federal funding compared to fields like physics and biomedicine, which have billion-dollar budgets. Because how will the funders make money? How will the big corporations make money from archaeology? I mean, that's past, that's done. There is nothing to see there in terms of economics, in terms of money making. Look for the newer technologies which we can manufacture and sell to the gullible masses. Argument number 10, civilization, capitalism, consumerism, these things will appear attractive at first, and because they liberate us from the centuries of hierarchy that we've been exposed to, that we've been suffering under chiefs, kings, etc., chiefdoms, kingdoms, and and when we move to a city, we feel more free and more individualistic. Most primates are also individualistic, and we are primates too. So it's like the animal within us wants to be set free. The only problem, though, is our individualism has the potential to threaten the entire community. Unlike in other primates, we are individuals with modern technology and unprecedented power. So, one person's decision can harm an entire city, or even worse, godlike tools with monkey brains. An example of that will be a deranged scientist, psychopathic, maybe, who has the potential to release a deadly virus, for example, and decimating the entire population. Ecological arguments, anything to do with other organisms, uh, the balances in the ecosystem, which is so fragile, how the different organisms, different species interact with each other, etc. Argument number 11, everything in nature, living or non-living, exist in a recycle loop that gets recycled spontaneously, sustainably, safely, and completely. All those words are important. That is not the case with our artificial synthetic materials. Our population growth is mainly because of these synthetic materials, which are not only hard to recycle, but they also affect us biologically and also destroy the environment. But we love these synthetic materials, and as per Jevons paradox, it's increasing our efficiency, and we are consuming the resources more and more, destroying the planet, in the sense, because these are non recyclable, or it takes a long time to recycle, or the recycling itself is not safe or complete. And we are becoming more and more addicted and adapted to these synthetic materials, that even if things start to fall apart all around us, we will continue making them until we go extinct. Argument number 12, separating ourselves from nature would necessitate separating ourselves from our own biological bodies. It's called transhumanism, where we convert ourselves into robots. Now, robots need not worry about the ecosystem getting destroyed, the nature, the climate change. You can make robots to survive anything. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't like it, and I wish my descendants are also of my kind. And I also doubt how far we can go with transhumanism, because we still have no clue about what consciousness is. Argument number 13, as we adapt to civilization, we are also rapidly losing millions of years of biological adaptation, which can include physical characteristics, mental, and microbiome. Some knowledge based skills, physical skills like foraging or animal tracking, and medicinal herb knowledge and hunting, and these knowledge, these characteristics are lost even within a single generation. And one such group of people that has seemingly lost some of these characteristics are from Japan. They are called hikikomori, a society-bound syndrome of severe social withdrawal, which is which you will never see in a hunter-gatherer population. And hikikomori is just uh, a city-adapted people. They have lost not only the knowledge and but they are also lost all the some physical characteristics. They have also lost the will to go out and do things socially or anything. And cases have now been reported in many other countries too. It's not just limited to Japan. It's many cities, if not all cities, have some people like that. A low desire society or group of people. Now these things you will never come across in a hunter-gatherer society. They are wild. They are physically more capable, they are more skilled, they have the knowledge, they are also very social. That's how they survived, and that's how we all survived from millions of years. It is in us, and losing it is not easy, but still people have lost it, like hikikomori. Argument number 14. Survivors of a major catastrophe, any major catastrophe, would lack the resources or the mental resilience or the knowledge required to push through the hard times. And also, natural disasters haven't changed, but civilization has added even more of the man-made catastrophes. So that if one natural disaster happens, there will be cascading effect such that two or three if cascading catastrophes, if you combine together, then it becomes impossible to recover from it. So an example of that is during Hurricane Katrina, uh, so many thousands of people have drowned in their attics, and they thought running to the attic is the wisest decision. But these things, a hunter gatherer would have seen these things coming from a mile away, or they would have moved to a better location even days before. Civilization did not make us safer, it just made us blind to our own destruction, a false sense of safety and security.